We back. Listen, I had one of our tried and true listeners of this podcast, one Megan Perrin, that is a assistant principal at a school in the state of Kentucky, visited my wife and our family. She's family. Her daughter visited. Her husband, Miss BB Perrin's dad, is a head football coach at a university in Kentucky, and so they came for last weekend. But she was hot with us. She was very upset. She said,
"With us, what did we do?
We didn't have a podcast last week, and she was mad."
Oh, my bad. Veterans Day parade stuff.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Your boy can only handle so much
Of me.
Well,
That's
just
what-
in general.
I get it. You busy. See, like you
Busy
know,
man.
You a busy man. You dressing different. You got the hat on. You look very, very executive like.
We're trying out here. We're trying.
Got to have a new head coach for the Tennessee Titans. We're not gonna get to go down that long road. So I know you want to take after take everybody out. We've talked for 72 hours before I mentioned our podcast name. Producer Pat, Carl Prather on the ones and twos. We are here for another college football podcast talk, pro football talk, wherever this leads us to. Patrick's got a little cough, probably got the croup. That's okay. I've already had the croup already. So you're just probably getting what I got 3 weeks ago. Everybody's getting it now. The old sinus, nose, whole deal. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I just have a cough. That's the only symptom I have. But, like, it gets worse at night.
I even heard Josh Heupel listen to his press conference yesterday. He was coughing during his. It's just, it is what it is. It's the fall season, man. You
But
know,
you play through it.
You got to play through it.
Play
Fight
through
it. That's it. We missed an incredible week leading into the Georgia-Auburn game. Alabama with a big win over Missouri. I guess we'll just start with our local teams within this state. We'll start with Alabama, and I leaned heavily toward Missouri because I thought the problems they were present from an eye discipline standpoint for the Alabama defense, their stretch run plays with Ahmad Hardy. Bo Perbula was playing really good football, and it looked that way early on, but you mentioned that we discussed this beginning of the week as we record this on a Thursday. Ty Simpson just continues to impress. And we mentioned the very first game of the year, Ty, along with two other players that we called out by name, showed the most fight, the most competitiveness, things that you could be excited about or encouraged about moving into the year. And he's just not disappointed. There's nothing that has surprised me about what Ty has done on the football field this year. And now, as we kind of get into the second half of the year and the early mock drafts come out, you have him in the first round in a number of places, including Mel Kiper's big board. But your thoughts on Ty Simpson, your thoughts on Alabama, not a perfect product. I guess we can consider them the very best team in the Southeastern Conference as of today, heading into their game against Tennessee on Saturday. But for you, the Missouri game, Ty Simpson, the team as a whole as they head into their game against the Big Orange.
Well, you said Ty Simpson hasn't surprised you, so you saw this coming? You saw him, the poise and blossom. You thought he was going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't know that prior to the Florida State game. After the Florida State game,
okay.
I was fully invested and convinced
Gotcha.
Because I saw it. And I saw it from the standpoint of some of the things that he wanted, the command that he had in the football game. Yes, there were balls and stuff that he wanted to maybe have back. One big thing that I wanted to mention, not even so much for him throwing the football. In the Florida State game, the one thing that really just truly impressed me was him able to kind of keep plays alive, but keep plays alive in the sense of not abandoning said play. A lot of people were looking around like, man, he was running for his life. Well, yeah, because, I mean, obviously left guard, left tackle left a lot to be desired on that faithful.
And still do at times.
Yes, on that faithful game one. Your center played really, really well that first game. Outside of that, you could have the rest. But I think there's something to be said for said player that's under duress or in trouble, not abandoning a play. So what I'm trying to explain, if this makes any sense for any offensive coordinator or diehard X and O guy or woman, I'm just saying that Florida State brought a lot of different types of pressures with Tony White and the defensive coordinator. First game on the road, you don't know what to expect, new players. But for Ty to have the poise to kind of continue to try to do his very best to extend said plays within the structure of a play, is what impressed me. It wasn't one of those tuck and run, like get out of Dodge, house is on fire, we got to leave the premises, right? It was, let's try to save all women and children before we have to abandon the house and leave before the house crumbles on us. And people need to remember, Ty fans can remember this. What happens if I take away 3 to 5 of those scrambles outside said pocket in that game? The game could have been worse.
Yeah.
If people vividly remember. And as the weeks went on, and what really sold me was the Florida State game from a poise standpoint, what he was trying to do. The first drive alone told me everything I needed to know of being decisive in where he was going with the football. And then, of course, the Wisconsin game, seeing it at field level. And I always call it all 22 because you're actually on the field and you get to see it. But I thought he was exceptional there. And he's just continued to ascend to what I thought. I believe that he could play after I saw first game. And then Wisconsin game solidified, and obviously everything is. I just love the fact of how confident not only is the coaching staff and Ryan Grubb, but how confident he is and how decisive he is within the complexities of the offense. He has more than enough arm, good enough anticipatory thrower. It's almost like I'm charting a lot of the plays from, I would say, 35 in, not even so much the red zone, of him being able to stare down said safety, Freeze said safety, being able to connect with play. Those are types of things that continue. You can see him kind of elevating as a quarterback at play there. So just highly impressed with Ty and what he's been able to accomplish there.
I mean, he's quickly kind of becoming, especially if Alabama continues on this rise, the story of college football this season. I mean, if you start looking, because the Arch thing hasn't really panned out the way that people thought. There isn't a guy like an Ashton Genty type that's just lighting the world on fire. So Garrett Nussmeier at times has struggled. DJ Lagway, all these guys that we thought coming into the season was a very quarterback-heavy class. And kind of at the top here, we've seen Dante Moore, who they just lost. But he is, I think you and I have talked about him. I mean,
I think he's the best quarterback
he's shown a lot of talent. Football. But then here you have Ty, who the moment never seems too big for him. Like you said, he has the full confidence of the coaching staff. And he just, outside of a handful of throws, like he just hasn't made mistakes this season.
No. I think after Saturday night, I think if enough people watch this game, I think you'll start to have a lot more chatter about CJ Carr relative to people that don't watch Notre Dame on a consistent basis, or maybe just had tuned to Notre Dame out after the first 2 weeks. But even then, you saw enough from that young man as a first-time starter, as a redshirt freshman, that made you give you pause for cause. Before I go into this CJ Carr diatribe, how about this I guess I may say for any Michiganders out there, 100-mile radius, you got CJ Carr that played at Saline High School, Bryce Underwood that I think came from Bellevue. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, listeners from Michigan are familiar. And then you have Dante Moore that's from MLK in downtown Detroit. So that'll be a story here in the next 24 months because they'll talk about those three, right? Yeah. They're all from the same vicinity, same area. I have been adamant about Dante Moore since he was a high schooler. I think that the three letters that I always like to use when it comes to like college football programs that are elite are recruit, development, and retention. And when I see CJ Carr coming out of Saline, and a lot of people didn't maybe put him in the upper echelon with the Julian Sands and the big arm of Raiola in Nebraska throwing all over the yard and stuff, this guy. I love guys. We talked about it in the NFL with running dual quarterbacks. I love quarterbacks, especially in this day and age, how complex defenses are in college football now. I love quarterbacks that play on time and make the routine play elite. And there's a lot to be said for those things happening, because when you're trying to attempt to, and I'm not smart like a lot of these unbelievable NFL guys are, and women, personnel guys, when you're making the leap and you're trying to project said player at that position to the NFL, those things are probably 85% of your playbook or what you're trying to accomplish on the offensive side of the football. I like to see the consistent 8-yard, 9-yard out, 10 or 11 deep yard out. the straight flat to the running to the tight end in the flat. Play action, turn your back to the line of scrimmage, be able to just to dump it off. Post corner that you can maybe try to make in the middle of the field. Routine plays. There's been a handful of guys in college football that have stood out to me from that position, just from an eye test, not knowing anything but sitting on my couch or watching film. Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, CJ Carr, Fernando Mendoza.
And it's crazy because if you go to the preseason, none of those guys were being mentioned.
Besides here on this podcast.
Yeah, we'll give ourselves credit.
You're damn right. I'm going to give myself credit. I'm going to pat myself on the back. Because last year, when a lot of people may have discussed, man, why in the world is Indiana in the playoff? They hadn't played anybody, they hadn't beat anybody, but they beat the heck out of everybody on their schedule, right? When it came out and we were wondering if they would take a step back, and when the first domino fell as far as a transfer portal quarterback and Fernando Mendoza be able to go with Kirk Cignetti, who we'll discuss later with his new contract, my antennas went to the roof because I discussed this guy last summer because he played Auburn a year ago, had an opportunity to watch him in that unbelievable comeback from your quarterback for the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward. They came back and beat a California team that had them dead to rights. And saw him a couple of other times. I saw him, the Stanford game was the last time that I saw him and watched every play. That dude, that's a pro. And anyone that plays on time, it can extend plays, pretty good anticipatory thrower, got enough arm, makes the routine play routine. He does everything. He has a little bit of everything that just intrigues you and kind of what makes that engine go with a really good Indiana team. Much better than what they were even a year ago.
Oh, they're legit this
year.
They're
for real.
Yeah.
They're for real. But those are the ones that have stood out in my mind. Quarterback at Baylor has been great too. But as far as just off the cuff right now, even Julian saying, a lot of people are like, man, he's not giving them much. But man, the defense is playing pretty sound. I still think they potentially could be had there, but you can't not be impressed with what Ohio State's been able to do. But those are the guys at quarterback that have been impressive to me. And CJ Carr, even as a fan of said gold helmet from South Bend, Indiana, he is, even in the Miami and Texas A&M games, showed you enough as a first-time starter that made you believe, like, yeah, he is even better than what I had envisioned that he would be and at this moment. And he could very easily, with a impressive performance Saturday night against USC at home, albeit a little rainy weather there inside South Bend, but a night primetime game that a lot more national eyes will be on him. He throws for 275, 3 bills, and has a clean game, 2 TDs, no interceptions. You know, may not even have to do that with Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love. They may just run for 3 bills. But as we continue to move into said month of November, when they have no margin for error, probably need to win the rest of their games to get into the playoff, and this is to me their last big game as far as maybe talent versus talent. It could go along with him making himself a viable candidate for one of the quarterbacks to watch as we head into the end of the year, but a quarterback that can take Notre Dame a long way when they need it, and then heading into next year being one of your Heisman hopefuls and players to watch as you head into next year, and of course be on everyone's draft board for 27. So Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, those are some of the guys that have really, really impressed me at the quarterback position. So, yes, I still think Alabama leaves things to be desired on the defensive side of the football. Still, I'm not very trustworthy of said players' eyes with their movement and eye discipline there on defense. Back end has left me a lot to be desired there as well. What better way to get tested than to welcome in the Vols this year? I think they're now like, just think it's a 7.5 point favorite Alabama is in this game on Saturday. I don't know where this game is going to go. I will be utterly shocked and surprised if Tennessee is dominating in this game. I think we're going to have another tight contest. I think a couple of turnovers here or there could be the end for either team. I'm going to go with Alabama to win the game. Jan Miller not playing potentially with that concussion he's suffered in the Missouri game does give me pause for cause as well. But I do like it. It's at home. It's at night. I will give the edge to Alabama. But once again, it's not emphatic. It's not something that I will say, and anyone should be surprised if Tennessee comes away with a win. I just think it shows how balanced the SEC is, how good this league is as well. And so I look at this game and ask myself, can Tennessee's back end hold up against the receivers who have slowly continued to develop, not named Ryan Williams with this group? Think about 17. Think about 4 out of the backfield that's catching passes. Ty is really distributing this football to anyone and everyone and playing within, as I mentioned, the complexities of this and the structure of an offense. That's what makes him so dangerous. And as he continues to improve with his play by every snap and his confidence as a first-time starter, the sky's the limit for Alabama. Hey, listen, didn't have the courage of my convictions, as I had talked about Florida State having Alabama in trouble in the summertime. I said if they were going to lose a game, it'd be the first one. They could potentially win the rest of them. They could be very well on their way, but we shall see. A quick pick on this game. Who do you like on Saturday?
I like Alabama.
Do you think it's going to be a tight game? I do too.
I think the SEC is just tight this year. I think the margin of error is probably as small as it's ever been in this conference. I mean, you just go down the list. I mean, even the teams that are bad, like Auburn, like they're in the game. It's not like they're getting blown out. Like the defense is playing well down there. I'm sure we'll talk about that performance from them on Saturday. But I like Alabama. I like Ty Simpson. At some point, Ryan Williams will get going, and then you really are talking about the sky is the limit for this team. I think right now they're either third or fourth national championship odds, depending on where you look at it. I think that's about right. I think that's kind of where they're at. The big thing is just going to be the defense. If you look at some of the other teams like a Miami, defensive line for Miami is just incredible.
Mutants.
Ohio State, the same way. Like Matt Patricia has that defense rolling. They got a bunch of first-rounders on that defense. Alabama, defensively, they're not probably what they used to be in years past, but also like if Ty and Grubb and DeBoer can have this offense rolling, like if it's shootouts, I like Alabama's chances. And like you said, Ty Simpson distributing the football, like it just looks like a pro-style offense. I'd like for the offensive line to play a little bit better.
Yes.
Especially
it leaves a lot to be desired.
Old Caden Proctor. It looks cool when he's in the backfield running, but like I'd like for him to hold up against some defensive ends.
Would be ideal.
It would be nice.
And not
because when you look at it, those are the types of things that will get you beat in the playoffs.
will get you absolutely worn out.
The secondary not looking at the right reads, the offensive line get beat on the edge. Like that could be Alabama's Achilles heel as we move into the postseason.
I just love the way I say this all the time. College football fans always get enamored, and we're all human. Fan is short for fanatic, but college football fans, including myself, sometimes we get enamored with. We always want the big play, big chunk plays. National championship winning programs or successful programs know how to manufacture offense. I've said this and I use that term, especially in college basketball. You got to learn how to. Programs and offenses need to have to learn how to manufacture offense, meaning that I can sustain a 8 to 10 to 14 play drive in a myriad of ways. It may be running the football a la Georgia, running 13 run plays out of a 14 play drive against Tennessee. It could be to close out a game a la Alabama, final drive against Georgia to run the clock out. Just go and look at some of your teams that are able to manufacture offense. Go look back for those that want to watch a TV copy of the Oregon at Penn State game. Yeah, it looked rough in the mud and it went to overtime and stuff, but how they were able to sustain drives. Yeah, it's newsflash, everybody. It's okay to punt the football. And if you were able to manufacture football and it's third and short and you're on your own 35 or 30 or whatever it may be and you want to punt it away, let your defense play, by all means. But there's something to be said to be able to disperse the football amongst a myriad of weapons and be able to be balanced enough to be able to run the football and to throw it as well. And everything doesn't have to be big chunk play, 40 yards, let's go down the field and take our chances, because that just is not feasible, especially not feasible when you're trying to win something of significance in the world of college football or pro football. So, yeah, I'll give the edge to Alabama. I like them. I don't think this goes as far as a margin of victory if it's Alabama by 10 or more. Be utterly shocked if they blow them out. I just think it's going to be another competitive, great game, and we're leaning into a toss-up type game. I just think the key will be Ty Simpson and the wide receivers continue to develop and continue to improve their play against a Tennessee secondary that has some issues. And I think that Tennessee's going to have to take defensively some really big chances, blitz-wise, to try to get home to kind of maybe mask the back end. Flip side to that is, as you try to take those, you're going to give up some touchdowns. But I think Tennessee is okay with that. I think they want to make this into some sort of track meet. and the first to 45 wins the game, right? Whoever makes a turnover, that may be the deciding factor in that game. So I'll go with Alabama there. We'll take a quick look back at Auburn in their contest against Georgia. It is the noise is noising down on the plains.
Pretty loud.
It is pretty loud from fans and those that watch the game questioning calls within that contest, to Damari Alston, the running back, deciding to leave the team, to players showing their support to said player, to Hugh Freeze and company trying to circle the ships at 3-3 and try to find a way to beat a really good Missouri team at home at night. We know the atmosphere is going to be electric. I know that they're going to compete. I know. I want to, before we move into the Missouri game, I do want to just take a look back at the Georgia game. I just want to just ask your just blatant opinion, unapologetic opinion about said game. There is a notion, and I'm not naive enough to understand that, hey, some of the calls in that game were interesting to say the least. I'm sorry for those listening, Auburn fans, Alabama fans, college football fans, the whole nine. Breaking news. If you think that said plays were the very reason why you didn't win the game, you are sadly mistaken. Yes. Do I believe that was a touchdown before it got knocked out of his hands? I do. Could that make that 17-3? Yes. Here's what else I know in that game. If you tell me that they're leading 17-3, and you tell me, by the way, the last 2 quarters of regulation play, said team with 17-3 lead would only manage 40 yards of offense, newsflash to everyone, they are going to lose. Now, if you were playing insert school U from D whatever, lower levels, hey, you got me. Find a way to hang on, win the game. Not against that.
No.
So help me out, Patrick, because I don't want to go into diatribe. I don't want to go nuclear or anything like that. Here's the thing that bothers me about these calls, and I've heard SEC referees, because of the SEC had to apologize to them for the missed calls in the Oklahoma game, moving toward the Georgia game. Now I'm hearing there's some sort of vendetta against the Auburn Tigers. I don't know if you all know this or not, but the young men and women and the old men and women, or whomever they may, the humans that are in those striped uniforms, they've had a tough time in all facets of football. Don't know if y'all been watching NFL. Don't know if you've been watching the college football games. It is what it is. We cover high school football games on Friday nights here locally. There's a lot of things that are left to be desired for said referees, right? Here's what I do know, and I don't want to sweat, and I may turn red. You ever seen a black man turn red? You may hear it in a minute. Here's my biggest issue. So they reverse that call. They get 3 out of it. Help me out, Patrick. The ensuing drive for Georgia. Pass interference. I believe they had an offsides. Late hit. All on said drive. What'd Georgia go down and do? But we're concerned about the call that didn't happen. Nobody wants to talk about the ensuing drive, what occurred, and penalty after penalty after penalty. And fans and everyone booing, act like the referee. The players did that.
Yeah.
What the hell they have to do with said referee? You did that. Headshot, roughing the passer, dragging the quarterback for Georgia down to the ground. For what? Continue to sustain said drive, right? Now, halftime comes out, and Auburn's marching band is fantastic, unbelievable. You come out second half. In what world, Little League, high school, college, NAIA, D3, D2, D1, FCS, FBS, NFL, do you know any football program that manages 40 yards of offense in said second half are going to win a game? I'll wait.
It's tough to do.
Who? What? Who? Where? How? Who? Remember when we was in elementary school? Who? What? Where? How? What? Who doing that? Now, if you want to go into, as we lean into, coaching, play calling, quarterback situation, hey, we can lean into all that. But this notion, because heaven forbid you weren't up 17-3, that's the reason why you didn't win the game. Because of that. Not to play on the field. Because of that.
Yeah.
40 yards of offense in the second half. You know what I do know? I know a team that they only managed 3 points in the first half that went into the locker room, and their amazing staff, and their amazing analysts, and their amazing offensive and defensive coordinators, and their amazing coach, and the whole nine, and the very reason why they are the elite of the elite in college football and national championship winning contenders and all that good stuff, made all the adjustments in the world and came out of the second half and cut all water off. Took everything you wanted to do away. I've said this, and I've been on record to say this, relative to anyone I've seen in college football in the last decade, haven't seen a staff, much like Kirby and his staff, since he's been there, especially as they are winning at an elite level, be able to make the type of adjustments and take away every single thing you attempted or you believed in said first half that went well. Case in point, anybody see the Tennessee game? That thing could have got out of whack after the first half. What'd they do? Oh, we got big offensive linemen, albeit young guys. Love the freshman right guard and right tackle. I think they're studs. Oh, here's what we'll do. We'll just run it 13 of the 14 times. Cut the water off.
Yeah. And not to make Auburn fans hot.
I'm not trying to make it hot. I just want you to be realistic.
Call me crazy. I think the referees actually got the call right on the goal line. I think the ball was coming out. That's just me. I think his right hand underneath it was kind of moving.
Patrick, I said the same thing in real time. I'll go a step further. Why was the whistle blown? Said player picked it off.
And
he should have ran it. He should have scored it. He should have reversed it and went and scored 31 and scored.
I'll say this just about the quarterback sneak in general. Unless your quarterback can squat 600 pounds.
Or Cam Newton.
You shouldn't do it. Just stop doing it. I've now seen it, just because the Eagles can do it with Jalen Hurts, I've seen it from every other team in the NFL. I've seen it from teams in college football. Just stop doing it.
Didn't I see Trevor Lawrence get it smacked out of his hand in the Sunday night game against
trying to
the
go
Chiefs?
over the top. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, that being said, back to the Auburn game. It's really hard when you hire a guy who is a supposed offensive guru. And like I said a couple weeks ago, every time Auburn is on offense, it looks so incredibly hard to just move the football a yard. And when I watch all of these other teams who have offensive coaches, let's go to the Rams, let's go to the Buffalo Bills, even back down to college. When you look at like Ole Miss, like they might have negative plays, but a lot of times the ball's going forward. And they might get stopped, stupid penalty, have to punt, whatever. Auburn, it's like you'll watch them, and like you said, 40 yards, like that's 20 yards a quarter in the second half. Like that's 2 first downs.
Make sense. What Auburn fan worth their salt? What college football fan objectively watching said game last Saturday night objectively can say, oh, they only had 40 yards of offense the second half? But the reason why I think the reason why they lost in the momentum, love that momentum word, momentum, that's the momentum was just taken away. You just saw the life. Well, hell, wasn't there another team from Athens, Georgia that was on the football field too? That would have been down 17-3 or whatnot? Who cares?
And that's the thing about like good quality elite coaches, they stop the bleeding. Like you mentioned about the Georgia staff in the second half. They just figured it out. How many times did a Saban team maybe go the wrong way and it just stops? Like at some point, the coach is able to get the momentum to the other side. We see this. Rarely any team that's super of quality ever gets blown out. Now, they might go down 17-3 or 21-3 or whatever, but they end up coming back because you get it figured out. And it seems like with Auburn now, we are now 6 games offensively, we just haven't figured anything out. And defensively the defensive side of the football is so emotion driven. You can see those guys going back out, playing their tails off. They give it back to the offense. The offense loses yards, punts it. They flip the field position in the other way, and the defense has to go back out there. You've been on teams before. The guys on defense be like, man, we got to do everything.
I'm so glad you hit that.
Everything.
Patrick,
we can't do nothing.
I didn't play football. I played 1 year of Pop Warner football. I love basketball. Was attempting to try to play basketball through high school. But I've been around and talked to enough high school football players. I've been around to talk to enough college football players, regardless of level of football, and pro football players. Everyone is together when you're on a team for the most part, even the most successful ones, right?
Yeah.
But you better believe that if you're an offensive player and you're or a defensive player, and offense has not been able to manufacture offenses, sustain drives, and keep them off the field, they are pissed off.
Yeah.
I don't care who you ask anyone. Raise your hand if you're driving right now. Raise your hand while you put your hands on the wheel and imagine you raising your hand. Any player that has played football on one side of the football or another, or guess what, y'all? Even special teams. Let's say kicker or long snapper or punter, muffin punts, shanking punts, missing field goals. They're going to start looking. How many times have we heard it in pro football over the years? All you do is kick.
Yeah.
You can't even kick a field goal. All you get paid to kick, and that's all you do. You ain't out. We hear that all the time. The stereotype of said kicker or specialist. You think? I'm not trying to call any of these guys out on Auburn's defense because I believe they all love each other in their locker room. I think it's a really tight locker room for the most part. You think the youngster freshman number 9 linebacker that popped on Saturday, you think he ain't feeling some type of way? You think 15, that's a first round draft pick on their defensive line, you think he's feeling some type of way? You think 17 that came from Baton Rouge that was all over the place on Saturday has been playing exceptional football at linebacker? You think he ain't feeling some type of way? Those guys, the DBs back there, Crawford and whatnot? Bruh, we are putting you in. And DJ Durkin can say everything he wants to say as far as, hey, this is a tight group. We don't care. I believe him somewhat.
Yeah.
You are not finna sit. Old saying, somebody told me a long time ago, old country saying, excuse me, kids, cover your ears. You're not going to piss down my back and say it's raining.
Yeah.
You ain't going to do it. You're not finna tell me that DJ Durkin and that staff as a whole defensively extending, creating extra drives for said offense is not feeling some type of way that you cannot sustain drives on the other side of the football. Newsflash, everybody. Kumbaya, my Lord, and everybody has won and we're a team. That is correct. But we are separate as well in here. And one room is going to feel some way about another room defensively versus offensively. And they're going to be pissed off and mad that you're not being able to sustain drives or said offenses out here walking the field and scoring and you can't stay on you can't get off the field on defense. It is real. Do not let anyone in the history of sports that has played football or have family members that play football or tell you differently, because it's not. And we are at a crossing, breaking, turning point break, whatever you want to throw in there, Saturday. I don't care about anything about schematics, what this looks like, paths to victory for Auburn. This will tell me all I need to know in the first quarter. Effort. I believe Auburn has played with exceptional effort for the first 6 games of the college football season. You will know everything you need to know about Auburn football as is Saturday night after 1 quarter of play. It's going to be very simple. Players are going to continue to play. Offense is going to continue to improve. Or this is going to get out of sorts. And you're going to go into the second half. Games decided. And we're going to be talking about everything outside of football that's being played currently on the football field at night inside Jordan-Hare Stadium.
And we'll probably be talking about another quarterback taking snaps.
Which leads me to my next thought. I have a sneaky suspicion. I've not talked to anyone at Auburn. I've not talked to any beat writer. I know as much as you know right now, and I have not pried or tried to attempt to hear or figure out anything. Here's what I do know, though. I do know that Ashton Daniels has had a lot more time prior to said bye week and heading into the Georgia game, which leads me to believe on Saturday, if this offense is stagnant, let's just say in the first quarter, or we go to the half and Auburn's defenses continue to play well, and you hear those quote unquote boo birds inside Jordan-Hare Stadium as Hugh Freeze and his team runs into their locker room, you best believe second half you're going to see a change, and it may be earlier. So we had an opportunity to meet and speak with and talk with Jackson Arnold. Seemed like a nice young man there. But we mentioned it in our previous podcast. I can go back from a mindset situation. I can go back when he was at Oklahoma and his start in the Alamo Bowl. And it's almost like since then, it's just not. There is I said the writer's block. He is just not getting this football out on time. I think he has exceptional legs. If he was just on time and be able to get the ball out, my goodness, he could legitimately have this team at 5-1 right now, 6-0, whatever it may be. But we're at the point now, if you're Hugh Freeze and you understand what this is, I don't know what his future holds. Here's what I do know. if you want future to be held in Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn and trying to continue to maintain the level of expectation for Auburn, you don't bring in said quarterback from Stanford if you do not believe he can help you win. You do not have a true freshman, unfortunately, that nowhere near is ready to be a consistent everyday starter in this league. There's a reason why you're probably going to enhance his snaps in the last 3 weeks. So I say all of that to say, I think the leash is very short for Jackson Arnold heading into this game. This is the biggest. We said this is the biggest game, and this is the biggest game in Hugh Freeze's tenure at Auburn on Saturday. You need to play. I've said it again. I said this. We said this last week. Said it in weeks past, Patrick. It's one thing to lose a game like you've lost them. It's another thing that if your offense and your defense and there's synergy between both and you're able to manufacture offense, put points on the board, offense doesn't seem stagnant or it doesn't seem as difficult as Patrick mentioned that it looks, and you lose.
Yeah.
But your offense can't manufacture 40 yards of offense. And we had an opportunity to hear from Jackson Arnold earlier in practice this week, and Jackson discussed playing 3 elite defenses back to back to back and trying to understand and maybe trying to find a way to continue to enhance your play heading into Saturday. But that is Missouri is a really good defense too. Don't get it twisted. But it's almost like you're saying, yeah, but we've played arguably the 3 best and 3 of the best 20 in the country in Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Georgia. You can't use that excuse anymore for Saturday. So I find it hard to believe that the effort won't be there on Saturday. Auburn's team has not given me any credence to make me believe that they're going to win this game.
Is he coaching for his job? Like if we,
gosh, I don't know.
Let's say we go out Saturday night, like you said, after that first quarter. What if the effort's just not there? Team's giving up. You're 3 and 4. Like
we got a problem.
Yeah, and again, like I don't know. I get accused of like firing people left and right, but also like what if that happens Saturday? Then what's going to change? Why not go ahead and at least show the fan base that like, hey, at least we're dedicated to something, but we had to make a change somewhere. Like I just don't understand.
Patrick, I got 4 or 5 reasons why I don't believe the Auburn powers that be wouldn't make a change in season. There's a coach in Happy Valley that was in Happy Valley that is guaranteed $49.5 million for going to the house.
Mm-hmm. And they were very similar to Auburn, where they were a team that seemingly couldn't get over the proverbial hump, and then it just went south. Like,
I got a coach that was at Fayetteville, Arkansas. They canned him after 3 games, whatever it was, after the Notre Dame game. What I'm saying is, in this day and age of college football, that's not anything that can't be overcome, especially when you're having someone sit at the house for $49.5 million.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the future holds for Hugh Freeze. I don't know that. I'm not going to even remotely speculate on that. I leave that up to you to fire and hire guys. But what I will tell you is that if it's bad Saturday, everything's on the table.
If you have a putrid effort, it's just hard to go to the Auburn
Correct.
fans and say we're dedicated to winning here at Auburn.
I also want to go back to something about Damari Alston. He's got a ton of support from his teammates regarding him leaving the football program.
Which is a red flag.
Okay, fine. I understand where you're coming from, but here's the other part. Damari, I understand you want to run the football. Hugh Freeze and company need to run the football a little bit more. Now, I think that coincides with said offensive line play that needs to be better. Leaves a lot to be desired as well. With that said, Damari, from all reports and all indications, if you are saying, I want to redshirt because I have 1 year left, but I still want to help the team, and I want to lift weights, and I want to work out, and your coaching and your staff says, no, dog, like, you got to play. and you're getting paid. You have to understand why said staff and everyone is saying, okay, we can't have you on this football program. We can dance around to quit, not quit, whatever. But ultimately, you said this situation was not good for you. So you made said business decision. But you also can't be being compensated and walk away from said compensation and redshirt and, quote unquote, as we like to say, have your cake and eat it too. I'm 1,000,000% for the player. But I also have to understand, I can't say, hey, I still want to help the team and still want to cash those checks, but I don't want to be able to be on the product on the field, and I want a redshirt to save my time for said other university. This is the world we live in. This is what we are as college football players, but we also need to understand fan, player, the whole nine. Coaches and organizations have to make business decisions as well. And instead of you being around, and you'll start to hear a lot more of this as we head into the month of October and November.
Yeah.
Said player wanting to opt out or leave or walk away from the program, or he's no longer with the program. Because everybody understands they're trying to get back in that portal. Yeah. Now, could Hugh Freeze's words been the verbiage he used on Monday relative to said player that is well beloved? It could have been different, 1,000,000%. And you got me there.
And I think that's, to me, like, I see where the coaching staff's coming from, but the red flag to me is Hugh Freeze's comments coupled with the fact he had so many players on that team support what DeMario did.
And I can only go by what I'm reading, tea leaves. Right. I don't know, but I think players had no problem with him having to be let go from said team. But I think it's just the wordage and the way that feels. So once again, this goes back to, as I mentioned, he has his press conference on Monday. Does Hugh Freeze go into said team meetings this week and have a mea culpa and says, hey, that was on me, that was wrong, it is what it is? Does he come back and turn around and say on Saturday after the game, after a win, hey, I want to first say I apologize to Damari. Those words were not the way that I wanted to use those words. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think the thing, I'm not even saying think. I'm just putting myself, if I was said player, I would say to myself, the wording, words matter. See, everybody keeps up, remember when we were kids, sticks and stones, my baby bros, words are different? Yeah. BS. Yeah. Words do, words hurt. And guess what? Sticks and stones hurt too.
Especially when you 3-3.
Especially when you 3-3. And so I'm just saying that I think what really made a lot of players that are rallying behind DA upset is the wordage and verbiage that he used on Monday.
He should have went the Josh Heupel route with the Nico and just said, hey, we wish him to, like, this is just what it is. We wish him to, like.
We want to do what's best for the player.
Right.
He's no longer with the program, but we wish him well. We want to do everything we can to help him.
And not to pile on Hugh Freeze, but you would think after the way his tenure ended at Ole Miss,
I'm gonna leave that alone.
That you would then mature at some point to not have these kind of mistakes.
The notion for, once again, met Hugh, been around Hugh enough.
Seems like a great guy.
Seems like a great guy relative to between the white lines. I've spoke to enough folks during his collegiate tenure prior to Ole Miss. Has a hard. This is others. I don't know Hugh Freeze like that. I don't know the man. Doesn't take accountability.
You can ask Bo Wallace what he thinks about Hugh Freeze.
Diatribe on social media.
Yeah. So you think he's the only one?
Do you think he's the only one? There's never enough accountability. So guess what? You know how we can erase accountability and quit talking about said players that are no longer on program and this and that? Win on Saturday. I promise you. I promise you. You want to hear anything? You win on Saturday? How about this? It is Patrick. What is there? I just want to look as I'm looking on my phone really quick. I think it is Missouri, and I think after Missouri, I think it's Arkansas. You win this one? You cooking, in my opinion. How about this? Missouri win. You're on the road at Arkansas. Could be tricky. You host Kentucky. You're at Vanderbilt. Yours truly would be at that game. You got Mercer. And then you have the Iron Bowl.
You win out against Alabama and make a run. I mean, all's forgiven.
I don't know what they could be. I don't know. We didn't know what South Carolina was going to be as of a year ago at this time. They went and won nine games, and the whole state was going crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got a suspicion.
Your thoughts, because and Auburn fans and Alabama fans and fans of teams in this state and just college football fans and the 7 people that listen to this, has nothing to do with piling on. We just got to keep it real and just and facts are facts. We could discuss the zone stretch plays that Ahmad Hardy and Bo Perbula and Norfleet, they're so successful at, and the things that they can manufacture off of that. We know the defense is defensive line and stuff is really good. We understand they have players. We know that Coach Drink is awesome, really good coach. The team is good. The program's good. We can talk about all the schematics we want about. I don't care anything about that, and I'm not knocking that. We talking about relative to everything that has transpired from last Saturday till now. We'll know it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be lackluster. They're going to go into the half and it's going to be bad, and they're going to make a change, and crowd's going to go crazy, and they're going to make a monumental comeback, barely win the game, or come away and blow the doors off them, or give them encouragement heading into the Arkansas game. And Ashton is your starter moving forward, or Deuce Knight is your player moving forward, or Jackson Arnold takes another step and he's better than we've seen him all year. We'll know. This is a program game. That's it. Win or lose. Program game. You'll know a lot about this program in a win. You'll know a lot about them in a loss. We'll figure it out, and it'll be sooner rather than later at kickoff under the lights of the jungle and the electric atmosphere known as Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I just foresee this ending very badly.
You like this game to be a close win for Missouri, or you think they walk away from them?
Let me preface this by saying I spent time down in Auburn, absolutely love the city, love the campus.
Amazing.
You fans deserve better than what you've gotten. That being said, I think that you guys need to be prepared for a monumental type of loss on Saturday.
Wow.
I don't foresee this ending great.
My wife calls me a golden retriever. I like everything.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
Am I, Patrick? Because you and her are kind of much in the same, that you all are in factual and actuality and cold, concrete, cold, hard truth. Am I looking at this from the lens of games have been so tight the last 3 weeks and they've been so close that I'm thinking maybe a change at a position, a play here or there changes everything and they win? Or are they closer to being what I have thought of them heading into this season, or are they're going to even be more farther away from that as of right now?
Listen, it could be close. I would just ask anybody, much like when we talked about the Arkansas-Notre Dame game, and you had kind of worries going into it, and I was like, tell me a team that has this much smoke around it where they turn it around and everything works out well. And what happened against Arkansas? Notre Dame went in there and dog-walked him, and Sam Pittman's fired.
Correct.
What happened against Penn State? We talked about, hey, at some point, if he doesn't get over the hump, the emotional weight of continually coming up short in these games is going to cost him at some point. I don't think either one of you thought it was going to be this season. I wouldn't have foreseen UCLA beating them and losing Northwestern, but it happened, right?
Correct.
So we have 2 instances this season where the bad vibes of a team have ended up hitting a breaking point. And if it's not Saturday in Jordan-Hare, I don't know when it's going to be, but it's going to happen at some point. Now, like you said, Ashton Daniels could come in and it could keep it close. I wouldn't bet on it.
I think Auburn wins the game.
Okay, there's that golden retriever.
I think Auburn wins the game.
Was it Airbud? I was going to say Lassie, but it wasn't Lassie. Airbud.
What about Homer Bound? What was the name of that golden shoe that led the whole rest of the dogs?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It was a great movie, by the way.
That is a great movie.
Missouri's only favored by 1.5. I think Auburn gets the job done. I think all is right in the world on the Plains Saturday night. And I think it's going to be – this is not even going out on a limb. I think Auburn fans can understand this. I think that is either Jackson Arnold plays well early, or we have someone else that's at that position that plays well and they win the game.
If they win the game, it will be because either Ashton Daniels or Deuce Knight have come in. Jackson, that ship has sailed. I think this is now 2 coaching staffs.
Patrick.
It's gone.
I am now. Golden Retriever Carl is well over that. Part of maybe not. I think that's where we're at. This will tell you, hey, how. I don't know this. Jackson met with the media on Tuesday. How do we know that Ashton will come out there with first team mode, first play of the game?
I mean, it could be.
And the crowd goes nuts.
So listen, if that happens, and listen, you said they have a top 10 pick on the defensive line. He could just single-handedly take over the game. We've seen it happen.
15 is excellent. I love his length. I love how he can. He's excellent.
I like the fact that he's not getting frustrated, too, given the lack of team success. That tells me a lot about his mindset.
Once again, words matter. Words matter when discussing said words if you're coached with media. In context, out of context, this will tell you. Players are either going to play for each other, play for the AU on the side of that helmet, or they're just going to be like, yeah, we checked out. We not. I think the effort's going to be there, but I think they do enough to win the game.
And you could point to the reason the effort's still there is because they have a leader like 15 who's holding those guys on that side of the ball accountable.
15 is
he's going to need it.
Like
he's going to be a high draft pick and probably go to a bad team, and it's just going to happen all over again.
Could be a tight end.
Next
could be a tight end.
Oh, gee,
Him,
be the
Big
second
Jeff,
pick.
Him, Big Jeff, Trevondre Sweat. You'll take it.
Yeah, that'd be good. He would be the first pick in the draft then, or the second.
Yeah, that's accurate. One more game to look back at. 2 games. Quick thoughts on Red River rivalry last week. Our own Kaylee Tinglestad, a proud Oklahoma alum. Oklahoma's defense is fantastic. 0 for me on the defensive line is my favorite defensive lineman, defensive tackle, not defensive lineman, 4 at Miami Bain. Excellent. 0 in the middle, Mr. Stone, David Stone, I think is excellent. Just watch him for a little bit. I mean, the way he can just, and his teammate Jay Jackson and then Mason Thomas, they're so good. I told her something as a hot take coming into this game. And she hated me for saying this. And it's amazing how college football works. I said coming into this game, Patrick, that their trajectories and the optics of both teams coming into this game, in my humble opinion, will be drastically different when the game is over. In case in point, there are little nuggets and morsels there that tell me as such heading into this upcoming week. Here you have a Texas team that everyone, the Uniter of Nations, Arch Manning, everyone's, what's wrong with him? Why is he not intergalactic, all-world, the whole nine? And all I've seen in the last 3 games is him continue to take excellent steps of how to operate at an efficient and high level eventually at that position. He was absolutely excellent on Saturday. And guess what, y'all? Who knew? He was absolutely excellent, and he didn't throw for 4 bills and 4 touchdowns and a 99 million QBR. Do you realize some of his best plays were him just throwing the football away?
Yeah.
With the check downs? And newsflash, I said in our last podcast, will the playmakers at Texas please stand up? How about Wisner? Spin move, juke here, to the crib, long game. All the playmakers showed up. Amazing how that works. That's how Texas was so good last year. It's because you had Matthew Golden, who's really coming on with the Packers. Slant here, deep out here, get shoulders squared, make a move, out the gate.
And he wasn't even thought to be a weapon like that coming into the season that blossomed into it.
How about your boy Gunnar Helm? That's a tight end for Tennessee.
Yep.
Same thing. Got guys make Mookum and all those guys back there are playing in the league now. Playmakers made plays, and that's what Steve Sarkisian wanted, which in turn was the reason why to me, I didn't think about the all world of Arch Manning. I thought what was going to make Arch Manning good is the efficiency, much like Ty Simpson. Who knew?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Now, the reason why I said the trajectory on the other side of that is, here we have an Oklahoma team. Defense has been Amazing. Best defensive line in college football, in my opinion, as far as the depth and across the board from defensive end to defensive end. Now, we know Miami with their two Mesidor and Bain. We know they got the two best DNs. And their defensive line is off, and the offensive line is off. I said, Mateer played. Newsflash, y'all. It's amazing when you don't practice with a broken thumb and you have surgery and you just decide just to roll the football out and play another high-quality program. Yeah, it's probably going to not be good. It was not good. He did not play well.
Yeah.
But who's to say Texas on the road at Kentucky, yours truly will be in Lexington, not going to the game, just doing a little tailgating up there. Who's to say Texas goes on a roll and is what we all thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year? And who's to say that Oklahoma and Brent Venables nosedive? Now, they're on the road at South Carolina on Saturday. That line is just at 4.5. After South Carolina, we discussed this in the preseason, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, LSU. I just told Kaylee Tinglestad in there moments ago. And she looked at me with disgust because I told her this just was a hot take going into the game last week. If I tell any college football fan objectively that they have the opportunity to lose every one of their games starting Saturday, is that feasible? You say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do people understand like the magnitude of that game and how that just changes everything? Now, everyone knew how brutal the schedule was, but that's what we're saying.
Well, especially because the offensive side for Oklahoma, it's too reliant on John Mateer.
Yes.
And we saw this. Let's go back to the Monday night game, Buffalo Bills, Atlanta Falcons. Josh Allen out of this world. The offense really runs through Josh Allen, but even he has bad nights, right? Overthrow here, interception. All of a sudden you look up, down by 2 touchdowns. Like, it kind of happens. And John Mateer's not a professional the way Josh Allen is. So when you're so reliant on a guy like that, and like you said, who's coming off of an injury, not had a lot of practice, it is going to be hard for them going forward. And the schedule gets, that's a murderer's row right there. Now, they could split all those games. Like, if you told me John Mateer hits back up to a level or maybe goes up to a level like, can they beat South Carolina? Yeah. Can they beat LSU? Yeah. Could they beat Bama Ole Miss? Like, yeah, it's going to be I think it'll be tough, but they could do it. But you also could envision a scenario where at the end of the season we look up and go, man, that Oklahoma started out hot, but whew. And it happens every year in college football, by the way. We see a team start off hot and nosedive.
The offensive line for Oklahoma leaves a lot to be. Listen, I've probably talked more about offensive line play than that knows zero about the offensive line. Offensive line play, it leaves a lot to be desired for majority of college football teams across America, right? That's number one.
I think football teams in general.
I agree.
There's been a lot of talk about that on circles.
It is unbelievable how many offensive linemen at every level are getting beat inside.
Well, because the defensive linemen are so athletic.
Correct.
And no offense to anybody who played offensive line out there for what I'm about to say. Oh. However, if you're talking about athletes, I'll take the defensive line guys over the offensive line guys every day and twice on Sunday.
What makes offensive linemen so amazing is the fact that, do you really, think about this just from physics. I am in a crouch position aiming to impede said player that has all said momentum. And by the way, for the most part, they are over 6'2" and a quarter and a half and over 250 pounds.
And runs a 4.7.
And you're trying to stonewall said player from the momentum that they already naturally have upon snap. Just think about that from this standpoint.
I mean, I've seen it watching the Titans on Sunday. There are times when Cam Ward gets the football, takes one step back, and there's a defensive lineman in his face. Like, it's that fast.
The offensive line has not been good for Oklahoma. But once again, as you mentioned, John Mateer just makes up for so much.
Yeah.
This is all you need to know. I think Michael Hawkins did some nice things last season in place of Jackson Arnold when they went to him in Oklahoma. A lot of times I watch a lot of national college football, obviously outside of our scope. I watch a lot of TV copy. I have an opportunity to watch 22 copy. I saw Michael Hawkins last week against Kent State, and I was very concerned. I think if Michael Hawkins is playing exceptionally well in that game, I don't think John Mateer plays on Saturday. But that's how bad it was.
You're probably right. Yeah.
I could be wrong. This is mere speculation. Once again, hadn't talked to anybody in Norman or in the vicinity. But the other big problem, as you mentioned, I think as you mentioned, you're right, because you know how I feel about John Mateer. I think John Mateer now, it really has become crystal clear for me. I like Deion Burks at wide receiver. I think he's very dynamic. I like Isaac Sategna, that he's dynamic as well. But they just don't. I don't see any dynamic across the board. Like, I don't see any take over game type people offensively, and it's even running it, and that is concerning.
Well, and Arbuckle has gotten a lot of praise here at the beginning of the season, but at this point there is 6 weeks of film on him, and
that's a good point.
If the offense, you got to change, you got to be dynamic. Like, these college coaches are good, especially the teams you're going to play here. I mean, this is the best of the best college coaches. What do you think, Kirby Smart or Brian Kelly or any of those guys? Like, they're going to figure out what you do on offense if you don't make some changes, especially if you have a guy who, I don't know, like the thumb just might not heal. Like, that's a big injury on his throwing hand. Like,
and for him to come back that quick,
yeah,
I think he had blood on his hand and stuff that game. Like,
yeah, and I mean, they've talked about pain tolerance. Like, the adrenaline will only take you so far. The adrenaline will take you through the first quarter. When that second quarter hits, though, them things, your hand starts hurting, you start getting tired. And like you said, like Ole Miss, it's a lot of tough teams down there.
I think it's a toss-up Saturday. I think South Carolina. South Carolina has their own issues. Not named Lenore Sellers. Man, Lenore Sellers may have improved his draft stock at a 3-3 record than he has if they were 6-0. Right. He's just a takeover game guy. You know, Mateer is the same way, and we know Oklahoma has takeover game guys on their defensive line and that linebacker that can do it as well. But I think this is a one-score possession game in the fourth quarter. I'll give the slight edge to Oklahoma because I think the defense can make a play or two there to put them in some advantageous situations there for the offense in good field position, or come up with a turnover or something that could potentially come for a score. So I'll give the slight edge to Oklahoma, but I am not confident in that at all. And if they don't get this one, this could go left really, 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 really quick. And every college football fan who loved Oklahoma, much like myself, and thought they were a playoff team, that all was contingent on John Mateer's health. Now, you hope that he, with a full week of practice, but if he goes out and this is gone again,
yeah,
I don't have the confidence in Michael Hawkins until he shows me that relative to his start against Kent State heading into that game. So there's a lot of intriguing matchups in the SEC. The big game, we mentioned the Tennessee-Alabama game, but the biggest game is you got a top 10 battle. Tennessee's out on the outside at 11, but man, Georgia's hosting Ole Miss. Did you hear my man Lane Kiffin discussing Kirby Smart's belly? Talking about he ain't missing any meals.
He did. Yep.
That was very impressive. I think Georgia wins this game. I'm going away.
Okay, you're not buying the Ole Miss hype.
I like Ole Miss. You know how I feel about Lane. You know we both feel about Lane. Trinidad Chambliss was like, you could be an eraser in this one. I like Georgia. They are favored, and this is all I need to know about the line. They're favored by 7.5. Traditionally, if that was a title, you'd think a 4.5.
Well, I think Ole Miss has history going against them, right? The coming up short when they get to the
meaningful games,
top echelon type team.
That's why it was such a big game when they beat Kirby and company in Oxford last year.
Yeah, but
you also had some swamp things out there from the transfer portal that everyone, all indications had you all in the playoff. After that game. I think Georgia's really good. And I understand that they can't get after the quarterback like they have, but I've also loved that Glenn Schumann has found other ways to make that defense productive as well. I'm going to go with the Dogs there. No one is talking about their quarterback. I just think he's continued to improve and continue to improve and continue. And I want to send a shout out to one there as well. Zachariah Branch came into this He set the college football world on fire at SC in his punt return ability, kind of gadgety type play. But as I've watched him throughout the season at Georgia, he's continued to get better and better and better and better from a receiving position. Now, they would run swing outs to him and stuff like that, but I've just seen a few little things there, a couple of snaps there to make him interesting enough for me to make him more of a weapon. I think they're going to play really well on Saturday. Now, if Ole Miss goes out there and wins that one, then you got me. But I like Georgia to win that game. I'm on the borderline of comfortable in that one. I think Ole Miss is good, but I think Georgia is going to they may arguably play their best game of the year. Now, just like everybody else, Georgia has issues on the back end, DBs. Offensive line has left a lot to be desired there as well. But I'm going to go with the Dogs in that one. Albeit not getting into the weeds as far as X's and O's of that one, but I like the matchup, and I think they come away with the win. We're going to go national really quick, and I know we can talk about a lot of other games, but I did want to mention just this coaching carousel. Patrick, your thoughts on Purdue making the change, Penn State making the change with so much money left on the table. I know Bill Belichick 2 weeks ago, before their bye, came out after the blowout at Clemson saying that he's committed to North Carolina. I think they are going to get absolutely obliterated at Cal on Saturday night. Obliterated. And I said before, when this experiment began, that he, wasn't probably going to get through the summer. He made it through. But I think...
Barely. With some of the press, it was barely.
But I this is leaning toward this is not going to end well.
And I hate that because it would have been just way more fun if North Carolina would have been good. This season would have just been a lot more interesting if Belichick with his 25-year-old girlfriend on the sideline would have just been going out just stomping folks. But they just look so –
it's bad.
The game looks like it has passed Belichick by, and he should just hang it up, go join a studio show somewhere talking NFL because how can this not kind of affect your legacy? I mean, you're talking about 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, the lead guy in charge of what was and is the most historic dynasty of our lifetimes, and now here you are, getting run out by Clemson. You're going to get beat by Cal. It's just, it's awful. We
said it even last year, we didn't have a lot of coaches, being fired or let go. And a lot of it had to do with, it's just dollars and cents. We didn't have the rev share. Everyone was kind of waiting for bated breath to see what that looked like. NIL, the parameters or lack thereof that you may have heading into this year, restrictions and regulatory issues with that. But we are probably this is going to be an unprecedented offseason because we're going to have so many coaches leave. And I would be surprised we have coaches leave, in the midst of playoff runs or championship. And it sounds crazy for me to say that, but...
You think like coordinators?
Yes.
Leaving?
Yes. Or at least head coaches having deals in place more than ever to go to said place after their season's over that are in the playoffs.
Because you got to think about it. The portal opens in December. Like you kind of have to get in spot.
Let me say this to you. They had something came out a couple weeks ago. Yeah, they changed it. So there's only one portal window now, and it's immediately after the college football season in January. So I think it's a 10-day period, and it's only one, which I love because now you can set your roster and you can have it for the spring, and there's nothing you can't transfer or move around after summer. Now the only other caveat to that is if a sitting head coach is fired. And a new coach is hired at said school, the players have to wait 5 days that he is officially signed and hired to be able to then enter the transfer portal. It used to be that you could just immediately enter. Can't do that anymore. So I like all of those that are in place for university, in place for coaches and staff to be able to at least have an opportunity to be able to persuade said players to retain and have some retention there. But then it gives enough time for players that people can know what if they're going to opt out, and then they're going to go ahead and head to the portal 5 days after said coach is hired. So parameters are in place for that. So yeah, I mean, it kind of was like a blip on the radar. Many people didn't discuss it outside the college football world, but it is a thing, and it's only one portal window for the foreseeable future, which is good for college football and roster retention as well. But I think we're going to have over a dozen coaches at the FBS level that are going to be out of here. I would not be surprised if. Unfortunately, one Billy Napier is gone after this weekend. There's some jobs that are going to be open. There's going to be some really
Stoops
solid
at
jobs.
Kentucky.
Really solid jobs that are going to be open for sure. Stoops in Kentucky is going to be gone. Like I said, I mentioned to you, he's not going. I don't think he wins another game outside of the FCS game against Tech. So we're going to have a myriad of a lot of coaches there that are not going to be in their capacities there within the Southeastern Conference for sure.
Anybody want to come coach the Titans?
Speaking of the Tennessee Titans.
We don't have to.
I want to. I want to talk about all of it. Kaylee Tinglestad came into this podcast, and I wanted to, I've already went on a diatribe about Oklahoma and them losing every game the rest of the year. There's that. But what I will say to you as a Titans fan, diehard, tried and true Tennessee Titans fan, better days are ahead. I don't know when they're going to happen, but they coming. Listen, man, you got a quarterback. And I feel bad for him because he's not played great, but I don't think unfortunately, there's no guidance. There's no direction. You had an opportunity to hear Mike Bergonzi and Chad Brinker. That didn't sound very great this week.
No, it didn't.
Once again, I've said this, love that franchise. They raised the young pup back in the day, had an opportunity to cover them for 2 years, went to practice once a week. I know people that work in that building to this day, dear friends of mine. It's bad. The house is on fire. The only solace is, hey, you're going to have a beautiful, shiny new, beautiful stadium that's going to host a Super Bowl in 2 years, in a WrestleMania, the whole nine. What is Patrick Akers actually looking for said head coach? And I'm assuming Mike McCoy, he's interim, but I'm assuming you want an offensive-minded coach relative to the number 1 overall draft pick, the 4th that has a new head coach in as many years.
I just want somebody to come in.
Man, you sound so defeated, bro.
And how can I not be?
Lord have mercy.
This is the 4th year in a row we have either fired a general manager or a head coach. And then I have the president of football operations sit up at a press conference, and when he's asked specifically, how do you go back and reevaluate your process that led you to Brian Callahan given everything you know now? And this big dope idiot said, I think our process is sound. If you had somebody, let's just put it in your own family. If you had somebody who for 4 straight years broke off an engagement to a fiance, would you look at your other family members and be like, oh, no, Aunt Susie's sound of mind. She knows what she's
Susie.
doing.
Not Aunt Susie Q.
No, Uncle Jimmy, yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Not Uncle Jimmy Q.
Yeah, it's beyond laughable at this point. And I think I was talking with somebody the other day, I've not had fun watching football this season because it's not even like Brian Callahan was a dumpster fire in the way that like Urban Meyer was in Jacksonville. At least with Urban Meyer, you got him kicking a kicker during practice. You got him at the bar with some lady.
You ain't got to say nothing else. You ain't got to say nothing else. We saw it.
He's flashing the national championship around being like, you ain't got one of these. At least it was funny stories coming out. Brian Callahan's just, I can't think of another word other than just like flaccid. It's just not anything.
Sir.
It's not anything. I've not had fun. The defense is good enough to where there's not even like explosive plays from the other team. We are just inept everywhere. I like what Matt McCoy said. At least he had a little bit of heart to like apologize to the fan base. You got Chad Brinker and Borgonzi up there. Like, who's in charge? Why are there 2 guys? And where's the owner, by the way? What's she doing?
Here you go, dog.
At least when Robert Kraft fired Gerard Mayo, who was the first guy at the press conference? Robert Kraft. What'd he say? I'm sorry. Even apologized to Gerard Mayo. I'm sorry we put you in this position. We'll do better. I just don't know why. I don't know why I'm still a fan. I mean, I'm not going to give up, but like, it's what are we doing?
And now you have
every week.
You have Mike Vrabel bringing his 4-2 New
I hope
England
he beats
Patriots
us by 60.
first place New England Patriots into Nissan Stadium on Sunday. They are favored by 6.5. The question is, do they cover?
No. You could make that line 35, and I would take the Patriots.
Here's all I needed to know why I had pause for cause heading into this game, because Mike McCoy said some things. I was like, okay, they're going to at least attempt to play hard, which they have on defense.
The defense. Shout out Jeffrey Simmons.
Come on, Big Jeff. How about dog?
If it wasn't
and
for
Tavonte
you,
Sweat coming back. Come on, big back.
I mean, they'll try. They're going to try. They're going to try their damnedest, but it's.
But here's all I need to know why I believe this is going to get real ugly. I heard Mike Vrabel yesterday. He had this press conference, and he was looking around like he looking for papers, and he was like, he said, and I'm paraphrasing here. He said, "Yeah, I don't want anyone to be thinking like this is some sort of win for the Gipper type thing." And I looked up, and the first thing I thought to myself, they're going to try to kill this team on Sunday.
Yes.
And all 53 players, I don't care if you're on the practice squad, I don't care if you're the equipment manager, I don't care. They are going to try to absolutely, if they could tell everybody to leave the stadium for safety precautions and physically tear down Nissan Stadium, that's what they're going to do. I was apprehensive at first, but when he said that and the way he was looking around and didn't really want to say what he wanted to say, I said, yeah, they about to go crazy.
We saw this last season with Heupel going to Oklahoma and being like, it's not about me, it's not about me.
It was.
But what does he get in the locker room? Says, thank you, this means a lot. And he was almost on the verge of tears. It means a lot when you're coming back to a place that spurned you.
You're going to see after the game, and we see it all the time because they always have the game ball thing, you're going to see said player, Drake May or Stephon Diggs,
give it back to him.
They're going to give him the game ball. And everybody's going to go crazy, and he's going to feel some type of way, and he's going to do all that, and he's going to be a little too. I ain't even seen Vrabel cry. And Vrabel's probably gonna cry. He probably won't cry. But all I need to know is this week, the leaders in that locker room, they're like, oh yeah, we finna go get this.
Yeah.
So
50 to 6. Let's put it that. 49 to 6.
They won't score 50. I think a good.
Clip that, by the way. 20, they won't score 50. Okay.
Yeah, I think a good 28, 31 to 3.
No, you're crazy.
You think they about to go nuclear?
Yes. What are we doing? We gave up 20-something to the Raiders, and they suck.
Oh, y'all, that's right, bro.
You don't think a 4-2 Patriots team with a Drake May on the rise is not going to come in here and put a 50 on us?
Raiders did. Let me see what the Raiders do. Yeah, they did put 20 on the board.
And they can't do nothing.
Nothing. Whew, thoughts and prayers, my brother.
Real quick, but what you said, I want a coach. I want an adult in the room. I want somebody to come in and stay. I don't care if it's an offensive-led coach. At this point, I really don't even give a crap if it's a freaking rehire or rehash. If it's Mike McCarthy, good Lord, if he can at least come in and turn Cam Ward to where we don't lose that guy's confidence and we win 7 games, just something. I want to have fun. So that's what would be fun to me Sunday, is if we get absolutely destroyed by Mike Vrabel. I would find that hilarious. And I hope Miss Adams is there and not on her horse farm.
Okay, brother.
Sell the team.
Down.
She's not going to, but sell the team.
Down bad. Shout out to the San Francisco 49ers in a losing effort. Continue to fight hard. Prayers up to my man Fred Warner. Dislocated ankle, out for the year, allegedly. However, reports are surfacing that he may return for the playoffs. That should not surprise anyone because he's an absolute mutant. Future Hall of Famer, first ballot. But yeah, we're broke up. But much like Patrick mentioned, the cool part about being broke up and hanging on by a thread, a box of Kleenexes, a bag of Funyuns, and 2 pieces of Bubblicious bubblegum, they're still competing. They're 4-2. They're welcoming in the Atlanta Falcons, who feel amazing after their performance against the reigning MVP Josh Allen. Like the 49ers to win that as well. Not because the Falcons don't have amazing talent and playmakers. I just think the character of the franchise at home is going to show up. And shout out to Mac Jones, just continue with every throw making money. And he's going to play as well as he can. Brock, they're playing a long game, want to get him back the second half of the year. So on the flip side, I do understand and feel your pain. At least you just want to see said team be competent and play hard in the midst of, regardless of talent or lack thereof.
It took divine intervention for us to get 1 win.
You ain't lying.
So appreciate
May
you.
have cost people some money for entertainment purposes. I ain't gonna say that here in the state because you can't do what you really want to do if you.
Well, you were in southern Middle Tennessee when you did it.
Maybe
so you can do that.
Upset. Should have won that game, but
if you want to lay some money on the Pats, feel free.
That's what you said.
So feel free. 56-3.
Like, subscribe, Take After Take podcast available everywhere: Apple, iTunes, Google Play Store, or where any of these amazing diatribes are available to you. Producer Pat's been fantastic. Kaylee Tinglestad's in here side-eyeing us because Oklahoma's probably they ain't gonna get blown out. They're gonna find a way to make this thing interesting with 5 minutes left in the game in South Carolina. Leave us a comment. Just say, hey man, y'all stink. Y'all suck. Just say that. We cool.
Or Auburn fans be like, I feel your pain.
Yeah,
We're in this together, Auburn Nation.
I think y'all gonna win Saturday, Auburn. I believe it. Go get a win, a program win. So we shall see.
You don't think the Titans though?
No, bro. I just want to know how y'all gonna lose.
Yeah, 56.
How many points y'all gonna lose?
78-2.
Kaylee over here.
78-1.
Kaylee
Can
over
you
here
score?
cackling.
Can you score one? I think you actually can score one in an NFL game. I think it's something crazy. So 78-1. Scoregami.
He down bad. For producer Pat, I'm Carl Prather. It's Take After Take. We will see you back here next week.